basically.
It looks like
Christmas, a lovely Christmas afternoon.
Yeah, it does.
Just not look like a blizzard.
All right then.
Just a bit. Can I have you? Can I have the rope up in position? Can I have you two guys standing in your second positions? Let's just zoom in tighter. It's the only thing I can think of.
Try maybe angling.
My name is Jonathan Bentley.
And what was your role in Cold Heaven, the film?
I was the co-producer, director and production designer. Yeah, in a nutshell, Cold Heaven is about a group of scientists exploring an Antarctic lake beneath the surface of the Antarctic. And the idea is that in this lake the conditions are supposed to be identical to conditions on Europa, and so it's supposed that there might be life or new forms of life in this lake. And when they open up this lake, the strange things start to happen on the base, and many of the crew start to go nuts and hallucinate, and basically their worst fears come true. And it turns out that something in the lake is sort of psycho affecting the crew at the base. Well, we interviewed a lot of people for the roles, and really you choose people for a number of reasons when you're casting.
I guess I missed that one.
Sometimes it's first impressions, sometimes it's the way they look, sometimes it's the way they speak. But really, I think overall you choose a person because they most fit the original vision that you had for the character, and the vision I had for the characters in Cold Heaven was quite specific. Claire fitted into it perfectly. She had the right spirit and the right attitude, and she also had the right look. And Everall was just absolutely spot on. You know, he just had a very powerful screen presence that I could feel just from our initial meeting.
Did you have any conflicts with the actors at all?
No, he don't believe me. I broke his camera.
I know production department had a great deal of conflicts to do with contracts and legalities and stuff that I deliberately didn't get involved in. But I think you know, pretty much it went very smoothly. There was a couple of occasions where I came close to losing my temper. But usually that's just because I'm not getting my own way. It doesn't happen that often. No, I think really the relationship with the actors was actually quite good.
Did the actors have anything to contribute in the way of the script, perhaps changing it in a particular way?
Yeah, what I try and do with all the productions that I work on when I'm directing is allow the actors to bring as much of themselves into the production as they possibly can, and as much of their own experience, because it makes it for a much fuller, richer, and more believable performance. And if you allow an actor to use their imagination, because you know actors are just like any other creative person, they've got imagination, they've got ability to create. If you allow them to do that, you make for a much richer, more exciting piece of work. So what we did was allow the actors to develop scenes and take elements from one scene and work on it as a team and with me or individually, and so that they could ad-lib a lot and they could bring a lot of their own particular style. And really the role of a director is not to dictate it shall be done like this, it's to guide people's abilities and to guide the performance so that they all fit within the same style and vibe of the film. Sorry, repeat the question?
Did you have to compromise on filming aspects because of time and money restraints?
Completely. I mean, from day one I had to compromise on the production side of things, because we didn't have half the locations that we needed, we didn't have any money, there were problems with actors' availability, there was problems with equipment that we needed, there was problems with crew dropping like flies, we had problems within certain creative departments where people just frankly weren't up to the job and weren't able to carry out their duties properly. and with no money you're not able to replace those people, so you just have to keep going, and it became a real nuts and bolts production where we're just kind of holding it together, and it was incredibly difficult, but you know, really you have to make the best of the situation and compromise and work with the problems to make them, you know, to make something good out of those, to make something interesting, and you just have to really apply your imagination a lot when you're sort of faced with really mundane production problems like we don't have a set for this scene. You know, how do you improvise? How do you make that work?
As I understand it, he had a few conflicts with Dan, the assistant director.
a few conflicts with assistant director is a slight understatement. From day one, he decided to go to war with me and question my every move in front of the crew, which was quite amusing. Not the role of the assistant director is not a difficult one to decipher really. It's to assist the director. It's to make the director's job easier, smoother, and more manageable, and it's to bridge the gap between the production department and the studio, the front end actors and the director and the crew. And what Dan decided to do was to question not only my decisions but the decisions of a lot of the key members of the team, quite verbally and in front of other people, and all it did in the end was to undermine people's confidence in the production. So it was a constant battle to claw that back and to prove to the crew that this production was going to work and that we were going to get it finished, because his constant gripe was, we're not going to get this film finished, it's not going to be done in time, we're not going to, you know, it's going to not end successfully. And so it was constantly I was having to say, we are going to finish, it's going to be fine, everybody just calm down. And his job should have been to say, John's right, listen to him, we're all going to be okay, we'll get it finished. Because there's a lot of paranoia and a lot of worry when you make a film, particularly when you're making a low budget film. So the last thing you need is somebody panicking on set saying, we're all going to die, the sky is falling, which is essentially what the first assistant director did in this case. And it didn't help matters, and he made it very difficult for a lot of people. I know he upset a lot of people with no real need.
Did you have any compromising ideas of what type of shots should be used with the director of photography and the cinematographer?
That happens all the time though. There are always conflicts creatively. When you put a number of people in the same room and they've all got a creative input into it, there will always be conflicts. I'm very glad though that I've managed to work with Phil, who is the DOP, the cinematographer. He's extremely talented and he's very good to work with. And we did have, it was for the first couple of weeks quite a difficult, awkward process, as we'd never worked together and we had no prep time because our original cinematographer dropped out the week before the shoot started. And that's the person I'd spent all the pre-prep time with in terms of deciding what creatively how it was going to look and how the film was going to be. So when Phil came on board and saved the day, it was fantastic, but we didn't have any prep time and we didn't have any time to discuss ideas together, so a lot of that had to be done on the ground. We had to do it as we were going, and we had to work out, you know, what is the look of this film. And it took us 2 weeks before we'd really totally got hand in hand on working on that. So to begin with, there were cases where I would say, no, it needs to be darker, and he would say, well, you know, this looks a bit crap, and so on and so forth. And ultimately, you know, we found a way of working together, and we work extremely well together. We've done shoots together since Cold Heaven, and we enjoy a very good working relationship.
Well, to understand it, generally a film crew is paid deferred when the film actually makes money, when it's published. So yeah, did you feel you were under pressure because of that fact?
Under pressure from what?
The film being a success.
Well, no, not really, because you're under pressure to make, because you're the director, you're